Delusions of grandeur. That's it's kind of a hard subject for people to hear, you know, with all these Marvel superhero movies that are going on. Um, nobody really wants to hear that they're just mediocre, and especially people that feel out of place. You know, that people that feel uh, maybe they're ADHD, maybe they have a stutter, they feel like out of place, and so they watch these superhero movies, and it makes them feel like they have a superpower. And you know, I think there's a place, but if you're suffering with bipolar or schizophrenia, what the problem is that you take that to a whole new level, and it becomes problematic. You can't have normal relationships. You lose all of the people that you love in your life because it's very costly, and so a lot of it's kind of similar to ADHD a little bit. There's quite a few similarities. I think a lot of ADHD people get this more so than the general population. Probably at a similar level as those with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. The difference, well, there is no difference. If you have ADHD, you're more reckless, you're more impulsive, you spend more, and when you have these grandiose ideas, you tend to, you know, get into trouble. These include delusions that you, I don't know, I mean, all sorts of things, that you have a huge self-worth, power, knowledge, identity, that kind of stuff. So for me, I've had bouts where I've gone through this knowingly, you know, or I think I could accomplish some great thing. In reality, it just doesn't happen. It's like jumping into the lottery. A lot of these people see, especially with social media, they see wealthy people, they see people of influence, and they think they're going to make a difference, so they jump in. They put a lot of money into it. There's con artists out there that will tell you that you can put a little bit in and get a lot out, and people with ADHD and stuff like that are really susceptible to that kind of behavior, and they sink tons of money as a waste to try and accomplish something that they're not going to accomplish. Um, you know, I've done it. I've gotten into debt for it. I'm not proud of it, but it's hard when your brain, when you're so convinced that you could do it and you can't. So, like, I'm attracted to like these superhero movies and stuff like that tell you that you can be something, you know, greater than you are, but in reality, most of us don't accomplish that kind of a feat, and it can be a real hard rock to come, you know, to hit after you're coming down from it, especially when you're met with life's disappointments. I feel like we kind of do a disservice. I mean, I love that, you know, we love the idea of redemption, of overcoming obstacles, but in the end, when, you know, I think our suicide risks, you know, our suicide cases have increased because depression has increased because, I don't know, I think we put out this idea that anybody can be anything, and that's not always the case. You have to be in the right position, the right place, the right time, and you have to have the right sort of talent. You have to develop that niche, and not everybody does it. If you're mediocre, it's hard to overcome mediocrity. Or if you're poor, it's really hard to overcome poverty, and there's these invisible walls that are set in front of you, you know, that sometimes, no matter how driven you are, you won't accomplish. And I want to set the record straight that is the truth. Sometimes, no matter what you do in your life, no matter how good you are at something, no matter how hard you fight for it, sometimes it's just a lottery. And you're forgetting the part that's luck. And nobody wants to talk about the part that's luck, but that is the truth. There's so much luck in it that you just don't even know, and nobody talks about that in movies, you know. I mean, you kind of see it on screen a little bit, you know, this random asteroid or whatever lands somewhere and somebody gets a power, but we don't focus on the luck. People don't see the luck part. They don't see the lottery portion where, you know, out of 50,000, 100,000 people, this one person will get that power, or whatever, you know? We don't focus on that, and we tell everybody that everybody can have everything. And that's just not the case. And then we pay for it as a society, as individuals. Those people pay the highest price, you know? I think that was a big contribution, you know, in part. Not just the general idea of my delusions of grandeur, but like that contributes to a lot of divorces. Oh my gosh, like it contributes to a lot of fighting in marriages. Like let's be real, people. Let's stop lying. Let's stop giving people delusions of grandeur to follow, because we're giving them those. And yes, I guess I get it. You know, people in Hollywood are like, but you have to dream and all this stuff. Well, it's a kind of a crapshoot. You know, you don't tell the whole story. You just tell the good part of the story. You don't tell all of the work that goes into it, all of the pain, all of the anguish, all of the luck that goes into it. And people get left by the wayside. You destroy a lot of people's lives because of that, and it's terrible because it sells. I mean, we are taking advantage of our society and people's weakness and the little money that they do have. We're taking advantage of them for entertainment's sake and giving them these delusions of grandeur. And it's causing a lot of people's lives to be ruined because of it. There's no disclaimer in these movies that this is not real. You know, people will believe it's real. I've been a psych nurse. I've seen people that believe it's real. People that believe they have superpowers, that a lot of people believe they're God, you know? Like, it's a real issue, and those are only the people that have been diagnosed, have been brought in. I can't imagine what the real population of pain that people have to go through because of these delusions that we give them. A lot of it's false hope. Hope can be good, but hope can be bad, you know? You can give false hope to people that they're going to be more than they are, and a lot of therapy has to happen because of it. I'm not saying I'm in therapy for other reasons, but I'm sure this is one thing to add to the list, you know? Like, I think that I'm supposed to do something greater than I am, but I bring myself down to earth all the time for that. You know, when I get that thought, I bring it back down, and I tell myself that I'm just any other person, and that it doesn't matter, and that I don't matter that much. And it's okay. I know that sounds like it should be depressing, and it could be, but it's way more depressing to believe in something like that and never obtain it. And then when you finally realize that you're never going to obtain it, that kind of rock bottom can cause people to commit suicide. That's why people die and kill themselves. Let me tell you what. When they go through the depressed state after the manic state and realize, you know what? It's not going to be that. You're nothing. And they think that the higher you get, the lower you go, right? I don't think I'm manic. I don't have manic stages. I'm just depressed. But, you know, it's all in a spectrum, right? I've been on a lower end of a manic state. Sure, I have a high for a few days. I understand what that's like, you know, and then you're depressed a little bit afterwards. You know, that's a normal fluctuation in the brain. I think it's more common with ADHD. I think we don't research that enough or recognize that enough. And if a lot of more of the population has it than we suggest, or maybe less has it than we suggest, then it is a spectrum thing. So people can't get upset that they're over diagnosing whatever. It's a giant spectrum. Of course there are going to be people that are more on this side than the other. So at what point do you diagnose somebody as that or not, you know? So much is left. I mean, it's not so black and white, right? So anyway, but yeah, I definitely feel like we're doing a disservice to us by telling everybody they can be superheroes. Sorry, which is not possible. We can't all be superheroes. We have to have normal people around us to save. And if everybody's a superhero, then nobody is, right? It's just a sad state of affairs that we've put ourselves in as a society. It really is. And I've been there. I know. I've been a nurse for it. I know. It's real. It exists. you know? And who's going to really stop it? I don't know if it can be. Money speaks the loudest in our society.